I think they've got equity in the minor league system that they can deal, and I think they're willing to add some more payroll. And look, you don't do what you've done over the last 2 years, add $800 million in contract investments with the middle infielders and the entire pitching staff remake, and not be willing to go in to finish off a team. I think the question right now is going to be, how all in are you? If you were looking at the Rangers, I think you would have said this is a much improved team in 23 over what it was in 21 and 22. I don't know and you guys were split right now on saying who would have been the preseason favorite, the Rangers or the Astros. I think that what I'm getting at is that if you were looking at the calendar, you probably would have thought initially 24 is more likely. You also have the situation where your ace is out for the rest of the season. So does it make you more incentivized to go and go all in, or does it just kind of make you say, all right, let's make sure we shore up this team to the best of our ability, but have everything in reserve for 2024? I think this team will add. I think this team will add relievers. I think, relatively speaking, relief help is the easiest thing to add at the deadline. Where they go in terms of that and how much of a blockbuster they're willing to make, I think that remains to be seen. But they have two things going for them that a lot of teams don't. They've got a top 10 minor league system, according to all the experts, and they've got some payroll flexibility, even with the fact that their payroll was sitting at $219 million at the start of the year, and that deGrom's contract is not insured for this year. They have some payroll flexibility to continue to add, and I think they will be active. I do think that the one thing that we see now is that the trade deadline kind of moves closer and closer to the actual day, because scouts and executives are all so involved in the draft, and with the draft being pushed back, the scouting window gets compressed to those last 2 weeks in July. But I do think this team is going to be active, and I think right now they've got a little bit of a luxury to say, okay, our rotation's in good shape right now. Let's see how things play out, and let's see how the market develops. The two closers that you really like out there are David Bednar and Alexis Diaz, guys who are controllable. Both those teams are playing in situations right now where their teams are looking at potential playoff spots. So I don't think the full market has necessarily developed.
Now, my question, kind of piggybacking off that, if they do have a trade or they want a veteran guy and they're looking for, say, like a Jack Leiter type piece, Jersey boy, I got to bring him up. They're not going to get rid of him. I think that would be a terrible decision, for one. But is Jack Leiter, is he almost there, you think, ready to rock and get on this squad and help them out?
I think Jack is still a little bit away. I think in some ways, Todd, his career mimics his dad's a little bit. Al had some command issues early on in his career, and I think Jack is having to go through some of that. The walk totals have been higher than everybody would like. Last year was not a great year for him, and the first three starts this year were not great. The Rangers put some kind of guidelines in place to get him to throw more fastballs and get him to believe, look, your fastball is good enough. Get ahead with your fastball, and you can put guys away with your breaking stuff. And they've seen a big turnaround. Do I think Jack could help this team before the end of the season? I don't think so. I think that in all likelihood, you're more likely looking at 24. And I would dispute one thing, Todd. I think that this club would consider trading Jack in the right deal. I think the only guy in the system who is probably untouchable at this point is Evan Carter, the number one prospect.